Let me scoot up. Hey, everyone. Greetings, everyone. It is Dynasty Amir Search for Who. Thank you so much for joining us. Before we get started, as we always do, I just want to thank everyone for the support. It really means a lot. Also, make sure you go to dynastymir.com. Go to dynastymir.com. Buy your Africa is My Therapy shirt. I cannot wait till I get on that plane, on that bird, and head back to the continent. I cannot wait. So make sure you go to dynastymir.com. Buy your merchandise, buy your books. Kinky Hair is Cleanly Hair. New release, everyone. Kinky Hair is Cleanly Hair. Go and copy your children's books at dynastymir.com. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Again, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the content. We really appreciate your guys' support. It means a lot. Then also Patreon. Patreon.com, search for Uhuru. Patreon.com, search for Uhuru. You know, the links are right there in the on the ticker on the bottom. So guys, go and support. It really means a lot. We have my brother on with us today. We are about to rise up, Jesse Jackson style, rise up. My brother Kala Genesis, everyone. And today's topic is, and we've done a deadly clown situation before. So today's topic is deadly clowns are ruining and running Black America. Kala, where do you want to get started? I mean, there's such an influx of deadly clowns in our society. Where can we get started? In fact, this is where I want to start too, Kala. And what I'm about to say is about to be controversial, but we got Kala on, so we bring the controversy when Kala's on. But I want to talk about this situation in Atlanta. So there was I forgot the brother's name. He was shot by a police officer here in Atlanta at the Wendy's, not too far from my house. All right, so the brother gets out the car, fights the police, steals their taser, takes off running, turns around with the taser, gets shot and killed. Okay, I'm gonna leave it right there. I'm just gonna stop right there. But this is what happened after that. So you have certain individuals in the community who decided they were going to protest every night at that site. Okay, whatever. But to take it to another level, they decided they want to set up a barricade and barricade the street. So one evening, a lady has her daughter in the car, is in a rush, I believe, to go to work, drives through the barricade. They shoot her. They shoot at her, end up killing the 8-year-old little girl. And I'm just going to put this out here. Black Lives Matter is nowhere to be found. Yeah. So now we've lost the 8-year-old girl. 8 years old. 8 years old. I was playing Contra on Nintendo. Playing video games. Just started Pop Warner football. I would have never thought that what 8-year-old leaves their house thinking that they're gonna? Yeah, I just don't want to talk about it. But this is the type of issues we have to address in the Black community here in America. But you have one segment of Black society who doesn't want to address it. Then you have another segment that thinks by voting for Joe Biden, there's all the issues of the Black community are going to end. And the Black community is just going to be completely fine with Joe Biden. It's just I don't know, man. I don't know. But I think
the bottom line, here's the problem, right? Here's the problem in a nutshell, right? Black people, Black America, right, don't understand when somebody gives you tough love, they tell you what to do and everything like that. Just because a lot of Black people don't want to give up their fuck shit. You know what I'm saying? They're like, okay, it's like you go into the Nation of Islam, right? But you still want to eat pork, You still want to chase white women, right? You go into church, you want to sin. You want to still do all that stuff like that. But it's okay. So, therefore, listen to what I'm saying. The deadly clown aspect of it is there's a lot of money in catering to clowns, right?
A ton.
So, therefore, why don't we get to somebody like T.D. Jakes, right? He tells you homosexuality is okay. He's evolved on sin. He's evolved everything. So long as it's all about the money, forget about the Bible, whatever like that. Same thing that's going on in a lot of religious communities, right? Forget about the reason why you came into religion. You want to transform yourself. Black colleges, right? Oh, let's get rid of testing. Let's get rid of these so-called standards. Let's get there everything. And what gets me is this: the average black person, real black people, right, don't mind challenges. They don't mind standards. They don't mind stuff like that. They'll say, "I'll achieve," right?
Right.
But what happens to all the people who can't pass tests, who don't read and everything? The black people.
It's not fair. It's not fair.
It's not fair.
The
When it's
system
like that, you know. We have
rigged.
losers and clowns, right? And the losers and clowns in the Black America are the ones that's failing. Are you saying there's no racism and white supremacy in college? Yeah, we know that. But black people have been dealing with this shit for 400 freaking years, you know? And we've always kept our community safe, clean, and on the right path, right? Now you're telling me white liberals are the answer. Joining with the LGBTQ, the communists, the Marxists, all these people are going to solve our problems, you know? Forget about, and then you're going to have the nerve to scream about black power and everything. Take that black power stuff out of your freaking mouth, you know? That's the problem in Black America, right? We let clowns, right? Clowns look like they're cool. You know, clowns are running us, right? People that look like they're just completely deranged and everything are friggin' running Black America, and we don't know right from wrong, right? And so the justification is, okay, well, we're just so oppressed in America. Okay, you're oppressed. We get that. You know, we get that. But the thing is, though, why is it that you wallow? Like, you remember, I don't know if you remember the group Arrested Development.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Okay. One of the, I forgot the guy's name. I know the guy.
Speech.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that. Anyway, one thing that woke my mind up back then, that was around 93, 94, right? I didn't know what I was actually fighting, or I was a young man at the time, right? I didn't know how to frame this, right? And he said it was so thing, and it was crystal clear on everything that happened, right? And I always looked at it. He said, look, you got black people who, despite everything, right, stay strong. That's why I was back then. I was with the 5% nation, you know. Mm-hmm. And he said, stay strong. They basically strive, right? They want to unify. They love their roots. They love their culture, and they're trying to do better in spite of all the adversities. Then you got black people who just wallow in their oppression, right? They celebrate their oppression, right? And he said the culture of America, the media, wants that segment of black society to always win. That's why they give them $100 million contracts, you know, to put garbage and all that stuff like that. Well, the black people who's talking about Africa, talking about look at the rap records like LaToya, Bonita Applebaum, all stuff like that. You know, all the stuff celebrating black male, black female love and everything like that. That's not played. What people want to hear is bitches and hoes, you know, blunts and 40s, all the stuff like this, you know, because it sells, right? We may be in a friggin' fool, right? A misogynist and all the stuff like that, cool. And so now these guys want to come out here in 2012 and they want to tell us how to vote. They want to tell us who to go. I mean, you spent your career denigrating black women, black nationhood, and you scoffed at nationhood. You scoffed at black independence and all the stuff like that, right? Now you got the nerve to sit here and come here at us like and tell us how we should live, how we should vote, and give advice on what's going on in our community, you know? And I said, the hell with you, you know? If you was a sellout back in the 90s, you're still a sellout today, you know? And I'm not listening to any of that stuff, you know? So that's what we're dealing with in Black America, right? You got people out there who just want to do all their fuck shit, right? You know, they don't want to change themselves. Okay, what are you gonna do? What about all the kids? What about education in the black community? How come we're not taking education seriously? You know, why are we not doing all this stuff? Why are we not getting with black educators and listen to what they guys say? I listen to your show, Dynast, right? And the people that you have on are extraordinary, you know. But when I listen to your show, right, when we got people on there telling you how to invest, how to do this and whatnot, you're lucky if you have 40 people listening to the chat room, right? You know? You're lucky if you got 40 people listening to the chat room, right? But when it's on some debate, whatever, or some, oh yeah, he's going in on somebody and everything like that. Oh, he's somebody like that, you know what I'm saying? Everybody, oh yeah. You know, I'm sick of foolishness. I understand. Let me tell you something, friend. I'm not here for entertainment. You know, I got a message that I was born with, you know, and I'm gonna put it out there. I'm not here to entertain nobody. I'm here to tell you the truth. I don't give a damn about who likes me and who doesn't. I'm going to tell it like it is. And right now, Black America is we're causing our own destruction. There's things that we can do, and there's things that white people are responsible for. White people can't raise our children. White people can't tell us right from wrong, decency and all stuff like that, White people can't do all that stuff like that. You want to talk about your independent, but you rely on white people to liberate you. White people got to give me this. White people got to give me this. This person I got to vote for to give me this. Ain't nobody going to give you a damn thing in this world. Anything that somebody gives you, they can take it right back. Power is never given to anybody. Power is taken. So how do you bring and take power? How do we empower ourselves? How do we empower ourselves? We don't love ourselves. 14 people shot at a friggin' funeral and now nothing, not a peep on social media from Black people. Not a peep. Not a peep. Now, if that was 14 federal cops that shot up a thing, these people all over the
place. Chicago, yeah. That was just last week, right? That was last week.
And nobody said anything. You don't see anything.
Okay, here's the argument. This is the same argument when the young 8-year-old Black girl was shot and killed here in Atlanta. The conspiracy theory now is really white supremacists doing it. And then they found the killers. It was Negroes with hair nappier than yours.
Right.
Yeah. So, of course, they've been saying that this conspiracy theory that,
they had the guy on camera. They had the guy on tape. Remember the guy? This is a personal interest. Remember that? They had the guy with an assault rifle. No, but then they had somebody put out a video where the white guy was dressed up as Black. See, everybody's like, see, I told you, these are white guys going out there doing all the shooting and whatnot. We're like little children. We don't want to talk about responsibility. Why? Because it's easier to talk about a fake enemy. I'm not saying that the white man's not there, whatever like that. But it's easy to talk about an enemy as an extraction. But the thing with Black America never learned how to do was deal with the enemy within. Nice. That's how all the Black organizations failed. That's why the Black Power movement failed. That's why the Civil Rights movement failed. We have literally enemies that really, they think they have us convinced that they love us, right? But they're only in for themselves. And I'm going to go in on this tonight and whatnot. This is going to be very controversial. After I'm done tonight, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to try to come after me and whatnot. But hey, I'll give you my email address. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, I'll tell you where I live. If you got something to say to me and whatnot, you come say it to my face. I ain't afraid to confront anybody. Okay. All right. But the bottom line is this, though. We have people out here that basically, the only thing they want to do, right, is they don't want to do a platform like Dynast, right? Where he's doing something constructive, right? They don't want to do like Brother Bomani Tyehimba. You know what I'm saying? Took over 400 people to Africa and whatnot, building businesses. I know so many people that I'm connected with that's doing progressive and positive things and building, transforming lives and everything like that, right? They don't want to do that, right? All they want to do is sit back and wait for somebody to get shot by white police or white people or whatnot, and just get out there with the bullhorn and talk a bunch of stuff, right? Not because, let me say, this is very careful. Listen very carefully, right? Not because they know that what they're going to do is going to end racism. They know that's not going to happen, right? But these people, when they hear about a police shooting, man, it's like, oh, yeah, we're on. Yeah, good. Yeah, okay, you heard about that? Yeah, well, let's meet on such and such place. It's a big racket, a big racket. And then what they do is use that momentum, the hatred that's out there to attack anybody that disagrees with them, And say somebody said, well, oh, see, that's what you're going to do. I told you he was a Negropean. You know what I'm saying? We're going to rise up. I understand Black people are emotional. When we hear about stuff, we get emotional. But there's got to be people with logic and reason and rational and say, look, this is what's going on. Because what it tells me is that you really don't care about Black people. All you care about is using Black people, using the pain and all suffering, right, to promote yourself, to build yourself. I said that 5 years ago about Ferguson, and I was absolutely right. All these people, oh, yeah, Colin, Ferguson's our revolution. This is where it's happening, right? Yeah, when they roll those freaking those tanks in there and everything, and those guys were like that, suddenly all those people that were talking stuff like that, not even 2 days later, they were all gone. Mm-hmm. I said, well, I thought this was it, man, And then on that, there was like dozens of people that were locked up, right? Facing charges, facing all kinds of arson charges and all stuff like that, right? I seen white people out there, saw there were cops. They were in crowds throwing rocks at police and whatnot to basically instigate. That's another thing. You have a protest, right? And you don't know who's in there. There's no roll call. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna march point A to point B.
Colin, let me interject. So this is the main issue with these protests now. No one wants to be the leader. Like no one wants to be the leader and organize.
Right.
There's a bunch of fringe individuals. They brag about being decentralized, and that's a problem. There's no leadership at all.
Oh, because they know why. Because when they say no leadership, you know what that really means? I don't want to be responsible.
Right.
I don't want to be the one responsible. Right. If you have a protest, you really gonna have a protest, right? You say, okay, I got a permit. We're gonna march from A to B, and people are like, okay, fine. But what you really want is chaos. But you want to benefit from the chaos, right? But you don't want to be responsible for it, right? Because usually back in the days when you have protests and everything like that, people will whoop your ass if you got out there and got out of line, right? You call
hey, shout out to O'Shea Duke Jackson for the 50 cent super chat from Uganda with the 50 cent super chat. Thank you, brother. Thank you, O'Shea. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Brother. He be cracking me up, bro. He's on that celebrity thing, that celebrity news, man. He's on it, man. He's on it, man. But that's what the problem. That's what the problem basically is. You know, there's nobody who wants to say, okay, I'm a leader. Okay, this is what we want. This is what we are. Nobody can tell you what the end game is, right? What is the end game? And there's always some vague abstraction. Oh, we want we want the immediate end to white supremacy. You know, dynasty. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I know you're a real smart guy. Can you tell me how could like the Congress pass a law to end white supremacy tomorrow? You know, how would that look? You know, Congress.
I can't answer that. In America, I can't. Yeah, I don't know. I can't.
You know,
I don't know.
Well, how could the state of Georgia, let's say the state of Georgia, how could the state of Georgia get rid of white supremacy? Let me say, let's go to another state. How about the city of Baltimore?
Right.
How can the city of Baltimore sign a law ending white supremacy in the city of Baltimore? How would that?
That's a predominantly black city.
Yeah, but that's what they say.
Predominantly black leadership.
Right, but Dynast, man, that doesn't matter. You have to pass a law to end white supremacy in Baltimore.
I guess we'll get rid of the Baltimore Orioles. Is that? I mean, I don't know. Is that where they all hang out at?
In the city of Baltimore, how do you get rid of racism? How do you ease the suffering of the people in Baltimore by getting rid of racism and white supremacy?
When everything is black, when everything's ran by black leadership.
Right. So, what I'm saying is, most people will say black people are suffering from racism and white supremacy, right? So, how do you do that in a city like Detroit? How do you do that in a city like Gary, Indiana? How do you get rid of racism and white supremacy in the city of even in New York? You got a mayor who's married to a black woman, right? How do you get rid of racism and white supremacy in the city of Atlanta? How do you do that? How do you do all these things, right? How do you get rid of racism and white supremacy in Portland, Oregon? You know, mostly leftist city. How do you get racism and white supremacy in California, where Latinos are the majority now? You know, how do you do all these things, right? What are we marching for, right? What are we protesting? Could it be that just people are just nothing but a bunch of clowns who like to see themselves be on TV, who like complaining, who don't really have a real agenda? You know, it's all about basically clicks, likes, and views and everything, you know. Oh, see, you got grown people on TikTok, you know, grown people making, and I'm sick and tired of, you know, these people getting up on, I mean, I'm going to shut my Facebook down. I'm just so sick and tired of dumb people getting up there making dumb comments all day. See, and they always be driving, you know. There was enough offense to anybody drive, but this is what I want to say, right? And they take like another 5-6 minutes to get to their point. They go all talk about this, that, and the other thing. And I want to say, I'm like, yo, you just wasted 10 minutes of my time telling me shit that I already know because you got something to say, you know. I got something to say, you know. So that's what it is, man. We basically, Black America, and I want to talk about this, right? We are people that basically, out of any other group of people in the world, right? This is the difference between Black America, right? We have never had a treaty. There's nothing in that binds us to America by blood. And when I say blood, is this. When I say blood, I don't mean the blood our ancestors shed, right? Anybody could shed blood, right? But you've never fought a battle in America, right, to establish yourself. In other words, basically, we were brought here, right? Unlike the Indians, right? The white man at least signed treaties with them. Okay, you got this land, you got this land. They signed treaty with the French. Okay, you recognize this, the Louisiana Purchase and everything like that. There is nothing in our history where the white man sat down with a collective body of black men. We had representation, right? Like they did. They had representatives when they were negotiating with the French to help them in the Revolutionary War. The British had to sit down with the American colonists, establish these things and everything. There's never been anything in Black America, right? Black America that established us by what black men and white men say, this is what it is. Don't tell me about the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment. Don't tell me about the Emancipation Proclamation, because that was done by a white man. Said, okay, what is? Don't tell me about Juneteenth and all this stuff like that, because that was not black people declaring themselves independent or whatever. Don't tell me about the Constitution. Don't tell me about Brown versus Board of Education. Don't tell me about any of that stuff like that, because those are white people doing this. Show me where that we, by force, right, had to bring America to its knees and say, this is what we want. Then, at that time, you could have probably got reparations for slavery. Since that never happened, right, and we decided we wanted to be American. You cannot basically talk about we want to fight to be Americans, fight to be American, and then talk about you want to destroy the same country, or you don't want to be a part of the same country that you're trying to fight for, you know? Everybody saw John Lewis. He was a great thing. And I'm not taking anything away from brother John Lewis, right? But at this point in our history, right, we're saying there's a large percentage of black people who are saying that America itself is the problem, right? How can you say America itself is a problem and not being here as a black person in America is a problem, and then celebrate the person who told you that our end game is to be American, to transfer America, and America live out the true meaning of its creed and all stuff like that? It doesn't make any sense. And this is why we're going through the trials and tribulation with it, because we don't know where we are, you know? Are we trying to change America? Are we trying to become Americans, right? Or are we trying to reject America or whatever? Or America is irredeemably racist, you know? That's a part I don't understand. And what I'm seeing people all the time is they talk about all this stuff, loud talk and everything, and they're not making any sense. Let me tell you something. If you don't have a really like this, right? America is a white republic. You know, it's not some idea. It's a real republic with borders, right? A language, institutions, laws, all that stuff like that. A monetary system, all that stuff like that, right? It's a republic. It ain't something you can just decide one day. Okay, I'm an American. No. You drive down the road, right? The same police is going to pull you over. The same police, like you're living under their board. You're living behind their lines, enemy lines. You're living in their system.
Hey, Kyle, real quick. Okay, people are in the chat. In fact, guys, before we even go there, hit that like button. Please hit that like button. Again, please hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and please share the content. Kyle, if people want solutions.
Well, what solutions is this, right? One of the solutions is this. One thing black people got to stop doing is thinking short term. You know, stop thinking emotional. This stuff is not going to go away. The stuff you're doing right now has lasting consequences. You said you got cities that are in ruins. Parts of Philadelphia, Minneapolis, Chicago in ruins. You cannot get that back. You know, you cannot get that back. When you decide to go out there and destroy shit and everything like that, you cannot say, okay, now, man, a couple of years from now, like, damn, we have no job. Do you know that Baltimore has never recovered from the 67 riots? You know, the Detroit never really recovered from the 67 riots. You know, people don't understand there's consequences. And then after you tear these communities up, guess where your black behinds are going to be? Heading out to the white suburbs. You know,
right.
Black people are moving to the white suburbs in droves. They don't want to be around other black people. You know, I have this thing where people say, well, buy up the block, buy up the block. I'm like, okay, you're going to buy up the block, but who is going to run the block? You got, we black men, right? And people don't like hearing this, right? How do you basically establish codes of conduct so black people can live in areas around other black people? This is what I want to talk. People ask me for a solution, right? You are not going to build anything. The bottom line is this. Everyone that listens to this show right now, you are headed towards the white suburbs, right? Don't lie to me. Don't kid me and don't bullshit me, right? Black areas in this country, right, are basically are run by a criminal culture and a culture that's not basically conducive to black trafficking. We don't care anything. I saw that thing that broke my heart, man. A little 8-year-old girl playing in her house, doing a dance. Innocent little girl. I think she was 8 or 9, whatever. A bullet comes in and rips through the house. Nobody saw it.
You heard about the 1-year-old killed in a stroller in Chicago.
Those boys killed in a stroller. If you're not angry right now, if you see the anger on my face right now, because I'm angry, you know, and we run around, and these are killed by black men, you know. We don't love ourselves and everything, shooting other black men. Don't tell me about the white man and whatnot when we can't get along with ourselves. I expect, let me give you an example. If I thought years ago, I remember years ago, man, I had to learn the hard way. I thought it was really about, yeah, man, we was brothers get together, we're going to deal with the Klan and neo-Nazis and everything. And I almost lost my life to my own brothers. You know what I'm saying? Almost lost my life. And I was attacked and almost killed. You know, and I said to myself back then, I said, well, and that took me a while, even a whole year to really come up to, nah, man, the white man's the devil, white man's this, that, the other thing. And then I had to realize, right, and, you know, after I went to my trial, whatever like that, when the things happened to me, right, and I looked at these people over there, right, that attacked me and whatnot, and they were completely unapologetic. They didn't care. And I was trying to reach them like, oh, we're brothers. I forgive you and all this kind of shit like that. And they were like, fuck you, nigga. You know, you ain't my brother. You ain't my this. You ain't that. And I'm saying to myself, that sort of thinking in Black America is real. You know, and then it dawned on me, right? Okay, yeah, we have a lot of people, right, that even during the 60s and the 70s, right now, you know, you think a place like Newark, New Jersey, right? Mm-hmm. You got people that lived in Baltimore, right, who never had the opportunity to go to a college, go to school, never had the opportunity to have a family reunion. You know, they have never had the opportunity. You have a lot of Black people who the thug life and everything, that's all they know. The gang life, that's all they know. And while a lot of Black people moved out of the inner city and everything like that, the young people didn't have role models around them to show them there's another way, right? And so therefore now you have a generation, you have Generation X, the end of Generation X and the millennial generation who don't know anything but what we see right here. And now some of these millennials are coming at the thing, okay, the answer to Generation X was, let's clean ourselves up right, then we can deal with white supremacy. But now it's like, okay, we're going to come out here and talk about the police brutality and everything, but we're still going to be strapped on the street, right? We're still going to be gangbanging. We're still going to, if you look at the police reports and everything like that, they go into a neighborhood, suspect shoots his baby mother and whatnot. Okay, we got 2 officers on the scene, there's a shootout and everything. Dude gets shot and everything. And the next thing you know, right, shot by the police, next thing you know, the community doesn't even look at the situation in whole context, right? This dude was shooting at police. He shot 2 Black people and shooting at police and whatnot. Police shoot him down and whatnot. And we still are obligated to go out there and protest for this guy. You see the difference in the generation? In the 60s, they never had to do with that. Malcolm X never had to deal with a criminal gangster culture celebrated 24 hours a day. Just the other day, there was a lawsuit that my DJ on Gangster Radio, my show's on, he showed me his lawsuit in Chicago where they're basically trying to stop some of these radio stations from playing this toxic music 24 hours a day. I remember when I was coming
Drill music.
Huh?
Drill music.
Yeah, that's what it's called. Yeah.
Colin, have you like sat down and watched one of these videos?
Yo, I seen the video. The deadly clown got shot like 2 weeks, gunned down 2 weeks right after he shot a video.
Well, Colin, this is the thing though. This is my problem. Okay, I'm not saying that white supremacy did not infiltrate Black movements, but when you look at this drill music in Chicago and these videos and how just grimy they are, like, how can we sit here and blame white people for what's going on in Chicago? Like, if you just see these videos,
nobody wants to take any responsibility. I got a guy in the chat room. Let's see.
Hey guys, listen, Colin.
And Colin, if
you disagree with Colin,
if you disagree with me, call the fucking. You know, everybody always talking that stuff, and then 2 days later they'll be in the thinking, I would have said this. I can't with you. Come on, now is the time to confront me. You know.
All right, guys, call it Uhu at searchforuhu.com. All right, guys, the email is in the chat room.
How's that device? I'm telling you like it is. We have a cult. Like I said, matter of fact, you know something, Dynasty? You know who predicted this? Marcus Garvey.
What did he say?
Marcus Garvey predicted this. He said there's something. See, let me tell y'all something. All y'all people who think.
Hold on 1 second, Colin. Guys, if you want to call in, the email's in the chat room. Okay, it's in the chat room. The email me uhuru@searchforhuru.com or uhuru@searchforhuru.com. Send me email and I will send you the link.
Lotus Rose, call in. He said, "Get him out of here. Get him out of here." You know.
All right, put the link, guys. Listen, the email is in the chat room. uhuru@searchforhuru.com. Email me and I will send you the link and you can call in. All right, go ahead, Colin.
Yeah. So the bottom line, Marcus Garvey predicted this a long time ago. I think a long time. Like, remember you? Let's set this up. Let me set this up. Does anybody in the chat room? A lot of people don't even know this, right? About the minstrel era, what Black people had to deal with the minstrel era.
Right.
Okay, the minstrel shows were created right in the early 18, right after America became a republic, and America was trying to define itself as a white country. You know, Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, Francis Scott Keys, and all these other people believed that America had to be a homogeneous, Anglo-Saxon, English-speaking white country. Those are the founders of this republic that you lived in. Now, if you're a Black African immigrant, I feel sorry for you. You know, look. Bottom line, you're not going to use me to try to change America. I know what that's going to lead to. It's going to lead to a race war. You know, and I'm not going to die over America, right? Somehow, Black people in America have always been able to build communities. You know, there's Black communities in this country that are almost 400 years old, in places like Nantucket, New York, parts of Brooklyn, you know, parts of upstate New York, you know, parts of Connecticut, parts of Long Island. There are Black enclaves, right? Hidden Black enclaves where Black people live self-sufficiently. My ancestors in Elizabeth City, Albemarle Sound, you know, lived in the swamps and everything, you know, during slavery times, you know, free Black communities that were left over from the Revolutionary War, right? Those Black communities in the South Carolina, you know, the Gullah areas and everything that were part slave, part free. The idea that Black people in America wanted to integrate into America's life, we wanted more infrastructure, education, and progress. That's what it was. But we knew deep down in our heart that these people were never going to accept us, right? And so therefore, to reinforce that, right, reinforce this social order, right, white people came up with this idea that Black people were inferior. And how do you make somebody inferior? You make them like to be buffoon, a clown, a joke. You know, everything's a joke with us. Why do you think right now most of the people who lead Black America has always been entertainers? You know, comedians. You know, we had to worry about Dick Gregory. He got before a white audience, right? He said this. Oh, he said this. Yeah, he spoke for us. Whatnot. He had to take a friggin' white people only communicate with Black America through our entertainers. Think about that.
You're right.
You know, through our entertainers.
That's a show. That's a show. That's a whole nother show.
That's a show. And so therefore, 2020, right? Who are they entertain? Who we listen to? We listen to Kanye West. We listen to Snoop Dogg. We listen to 50 Cent. T motherfucking I. T.I. You think about Tip. This motherfucker has a strip club, a trap museum, and all the stuff like that. And this guy is up there on CNN, whatever like that, speaking for Black Atlanta. How the hell does that happen? Deadly clownism. You know, you in 2020, you are still a clown because that's what they think of you. They think of you as 50 Cent, T.I., and all these other stupid idiots that get up there and make good music. I like their music. You know, P. Diddy, all these other people that got a platform. Those are the ones speaking for Black America. You know, I would have more respect if they brought Umar Johnson up. You know, I would have more respect if Umar Johnson was making a CNN circuit and whatnot. You know, maybe if he was making that sort of money, he wouldn't be messed up the way he is. But we basically turned Umar Johnson, somebody who's brilliant, into a clown, right? Right? Umar Johnson is a joke or not. But yet you got T.I. and Killer Mike up there as a spokesperson. I want somebody to call in tonight and challenge me on this. You know, where are the people? Where are your balls at?
Hold on. Dad, man, I sent you the link. So this is the thing, guys. When I send you the link, click on the link so you come on and, you know, if you disagree with Kyla, go. Well, if you disagree with Kyla, come on and state your case. So again, I put the link in the chat room. Click on the link and I will send you I will email you the link to come on. Okay. All right, go ahead.
That man says, who else supposed to speak politically? You got to be kidding me, bro. So in other words, basically, you understand what I'm talking about. You are a deadly clown. You can't see that freaking a rapper and they ain't supposed to be your political spokesman. You go to white America, Chinese, everybody, they got people, institutions that they go to, you know? Black people are only, they don't think 400, like I said, this so-called African American is a freaking joke. I'm done with being a so-called African American, you know? I'm ready to have a nation. I'm ready to build a black nation on African soil. Build with my Ghanaians, Nigerian brothers, South African brothers, and build something. When this is done, Black America's finished. You know, because it's 2020. If I was sitting across to you and this was 1940, I would be one thing, you know. But this is 2020, 70, 80 years later, and we're still having this conversation, and it ain't going nowhere because nobody takes us seriously. Nobody takes us seriously because we're not organized. And we don't respect people who got vision, who got integrity. Only thing we respect are people that make us feel good at the moment and whatnot, you know? We're gonna rise up, man. We're down in Stone Mountain, Georgia, a majority black population. No Ku Klux Klan we found and we confronted the Klan, you know? And the next day, this clown's on friggin' TV talking about all lives matter. You know? You got people out there, these are real black men. These are real black men, you know? Going out there with fake ass guns, scopes on backwards and everything like that, you know, no anything when I talk about these are real black men. They're gonna do something. Do something was when you're strong as when the other guy shows up with guns too, and when those guns go off, then you see what you're made of. Have you ever been in a shootout when I got shot at like I have? It's not fun. You know, it's not fun. So the bottom line is this: I want these people to call in. You know.
All right, guys. So again, send the email. Email me Uhuru at searchforuhuru.com. I will send you the link, and you could call in. All right.
Yeah. So that's what we have. We have in Black America, right? We're basically. You wonder why our women, right? Who I feel bad for is Black women. You know, because this is what you guys like. So you wonder why Black women. You go on our sister Paris Milan's radio show. What can you say, man? You know. Diane knows what I'm talking about, right? Her comment section, man. If you want to be suicidal as a black man,
black men don't protect us. They don't protect us.
This is a black. See, if a man can't do this for us, one guy, a soccer player, what he was, I don't know. He said he gave his girlfriend like $1 million for
Oh yeah. We got caller. All right, Dad, man, go ahead. You're on live.
Oh,
hey, how you doing,
man? Come on, man. You can't be incognito when you're talking to debate,
man. Yeah. I saw you in the chat the other day. You said that.
Call, put the camera on, bro. I like to see who I'm talking.
Hey, hold up. Okay, so yeah, I heard a lot of what he said. One thing I've noticed a lot about the talk when people talk about the issues within my black community and everything.
Who?
Sorry, within like when people talk about stuff within the black community, people always mention things like Marcus Garvey. I've mentioned stuff like Booker T. Washington. He had a full philosophy of what should be done. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but back in the day, he got like a lot of money from all these big, rich people who own railroads and everything. And his idea was basically not just copy what's happening in mainstream society, because he said it was good to start a foundation. He said in order to build like really Black America, they had to start from really knowing who we are. And by starting with like technical education, and from there, they build what they really care about. And that's why he kind of found Tuskegee. What it seems like right now, what I've seen a lot, people go after the money only, right? But in that process, they end up just purchasing consumer items that are part of America, and therefore we aren't really forming our own identity.
Okay, do you understand that, the Black identity is what the white people say it is? Yeah, right?
Mm.
Whatever white America tells you are, that's exactly what you are. Why? Because it's called space. They control the space. You live in their space. And in their space, you live in their domain, the dominion. That's why Tuskegee never succeeded,
Well, Well, it did actually. I mean,
No,
it got
no,
started
no, it
back in
didn't. Hold, bro. So the only best thing Tuskegee did was when people gave him money to establish in Liberia the Booker Washington Institute of Liberia, right, in Tuskegee in Liberia. That was basically nation building. They're saying, look, and also remember something, right? Years later, Tuskegee was the place of the infamous Tuskegee syphilis Foundation. Also, do you remember an incident called the Atlanta Compromise, the Great Compromise? That was
Yes, I do.
well, remember afterwards, black people in Atlanta had did all the things Booker T. Washington said do, right?
No.
They said he said just cash your bucket down the way it is, right? And let me say something. I agree with that, right? But the thing here was a problem, right? White people were not arguing against black people doing that, right? Because they needed a labor force, right? After slavery, black people made up almost 60% of all skilled labor, so they still needed the black manpower, and labor, right? And you see the contracting and the labor system is still the same way it is right now since slavery times, right? General contractors, subcontractors, corporations, or it's getting better now. You got a lot of black men who are moving into contracting and stuff like that, and journeyman and everything like that. But that was all set up to keep black people out. My point is this. My point is this, though. What they did not agree to was the fact that even during slavery times, there was always a black pinnacle, right? There were black people who got a little better well off and everything, who had newspapers, who walked down the street. Black men, let me tell you something about black men back in the days, man. They ain't like it is now. All this stuff with pants hanging down, stuff like that with grown-ass men.
Hold on. I'm going to show you something, Colin. Hold on. I'm going to show you something.
You know what I'm saying? This is what they do. They warn against our culture, our best and brightest, everything. How we look. I know.
Hold on, Colin. So this right here, this picture right here, that's my dad right there on the far left. All right, that's my dad, and they're at a club in Chicago. Look how they're dressed.
Yeah,
that's my dad.
Look at that. Look at that now. By them financing and monetizing black culture, look how far we've gone down. That's when we had control over what we did, what we said. You see what I'm saying? So therefore, what I'm saying is, when the Atlanta race riot happened, right? Black people were like, wait a minute here. We did all the things we said. We're not marrying white women. We're building our communities like this. We believed in America and everything. And white people came there and ransacked the place, beat black people down, killed them for nothing. You know why? You know what was happening? White people were so jealous of black men's success, right? They began putting newspaper articles. Oh, black men are raping white women, Maybe some white women came across that part of town, whatever, and whatever, I don't know, whatever happened, But the thing is, though, white newspapers would sit out and play, oh, black men are down here having sex with white women. White women are being raped and assaulted and everything. Same thing they did with Tulsa. Same thing they did with Wilmington and everything like that. They always use white women as a way to attack. That's the one thing that'll get white men angry to violence. Black men are out here living good, and when that white men are suffering in a thing like that, and you got black men out here cheating, political, stealing money, public money. Any black people that hold a little office, they were always accused of character assassination. So all that did not do a damn thing to protect, or all Booker T. Washington didn't do a damn thing to protect us, because as long as you did. So what you're asking me to do is, we got to sit back, right? Not only that we got to deal with the enemy without white America, right? We also have to deal with the enemy within. Neither one do we have any control over. So the soul of the black nation.
Hey, Colin, let the brother talk.
Okay, brother. All right, brother.
Yeah. So one thing you mentioned, that was a good point. You said we haven't dealt with the call and the person within, right? But at the same time, I'm not sure if you've read Booker T. Washington's character building, which dealt specifically with when he started Tuskegee. When students came in, even at that time, he said, look, we have a lot of people who come in and just want to clown around and make excuses, want to call in sick, don't want to go to school. And so he had all this thing, he had a whole manual telling really a lot of African-American people coming into college, like, look, this is who we have to kind of strive to be like. This is the kind of ethical standards we have to have. I mean, he had a long list. He talked about things like how a lot of people in the community would say, oh, yeah, I'm a doctor or whatever, just to, bring themselves up. And he's like, stop being fake. Stop trying to put on a British accent when you go to Britain. Stop doing all that stuff. He said, like, really find who you are. And one thing I would like to say, personally, when I read through his stuff, and I think everyone should read, but when I read through his stuff, like a lot of what you said was relevant to me because I went to college, right? And I went and just studied what like a lot of people do in mainstream society, whatever. And a lot of those mathematics I studied, they really didn't make any sense to me. But when I went back and did like a lot of the technical work, I really understood it intuitively. I understood where it came from. And he was saying like a lot of people, especially African Americans in America, they say they don't want to almost go back. They think like working with your hands is going backward, but it really forms a foundation. I found after like going
I
to
agree.
school, like I said, it was true.
I agree. Like I said, I'm all for the skills trade. And I'm just having this conversation today, right? Okay. In my my office, I moved my office right across the way in the office complex to a bigger office. We're expanding. And the guy that when I got there, right, and I thought there was an intruder. I forgot the AC guy was coming, and he had a key, right? I was like, oh shit, who the bro's like, okay, I was sorry, it was an older brother, right? But he has his own AC company, right? And the one guy that does all the maintenance on the building, when there's another black guy, these guys got skills galore, right? Mm-hmm. My point is, and I talked to a brother yesterday who installed the cable in, right? And I was asking about what about skill. We'll talk about the skilled trades, right? He said a lot of young people don't want to get into this. You gotta make a good living. I got a lot of money saved, installing this stuff like that. And the AC guy, this guy looked just like he was older, like in the 70s, whatever, like that. He looked really bitter, right? A lot of these guys are gonna die, right? And their skills are not gonna be passed along because the younger generation, right? They want to play online all day, this, that, the other thing. Young girls, right, want to make young girls making $100,000 with fans only, the fans only thing, This is the world we're living in, right? So how are you going to talk about building communities now when people are just basically either online all day doing this, that, the other thing? They don't want to do hard work. Somebody has to still do skilled trades, because I look at the work these guys do. When this guy was at my office, this is in the morning on a Saturday, right? And he's up there, like he told me, it says ice up there. He has to get into the next guy's building. Another brother who has a built business right in back of mine. He said, I got to get in there in his business and everything to get to the compressor. Because anyway, my point is I'm trying to make is I don't see young men, right, in their 20s and 30s, right, taking up enthusiasm, these skills, these trades, right? Mm-hmm. I don't see that. If we have a culture, right? You look at Tyler Perry movie, right? Tyler Perry movie, right? What do you see in Tyler Perry's movie, right? It's always a strong black woman, right?
Yeah.
It's always
Colin, what kind of woman?
A strong black woman, and she's some executive or whatever like that, right? And they have Leroy, he's a handyman, get with her and everything. It's like clowning on the working brother, so Dennis knows exactly what I'm talking about. He's in Atlanta. A blue collar brother could be making six figures. He ain't got a chance with some of these women. He ain't got a chance. Because if we look down on the skilled trades, you're a blue collar brother. People don't want to hear that because you're a strong black woman and you better be balling, controlling whatnot. But so the bottom line, that's our culture. We let this happen. We oppress each other, So the bottom line, you'll never see a movie center. Do you know Bill Cosby? The Cosby Show originally, he was supposed to be a plumber. You know that?
No.
And Claire was supposed to be a housewife. Yeah, he was supposed the original Cosby Show. He said, no, we're gonna make it a doctor, in 1984. Man, we weren't ready for that shit. I mean, it would have been good, but then again, George Jefferson was a cleaner. He owned a business, right?
Yeah.
Stanford was a junk man and whatnot,
Yeah.
Bill Cosby, yeah. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. One thing I've been looking at recently, like you said, it's not really sexy to be like a handyman, be a technical person. One thing I've seen just growing up is a lot of people who aren't black. It's not just about a job because I see a lot of these programs like STEM programs. They just say, hey, so and so, get a job. But a lot of people who I went to school with, they learn how to be technical through their parents used to work on boats, and that's what they did as a pastime. They used to ride bicycles, and they used to build mountain bicycle ramps. So they used to work with like these wooden ramps and stuff. They used to do that on their spare time. They used to have guns. They used to build gun racks. So it's part of their culture almost to work with your hand.
Right. And we don't have that.
Yeah.
The men are not in the community. We're not. When you go to the white community here in America, right? The man is home. He ain't somewhere living in a hostile where like in the majority black community. We're not. The men are not existing. You got beta males. You got alpha males out here that are home. They got guns. They got boats in their yard and whatnot. You know, they got all these things. They got tools. You go to real man's garage and whatnot. You'll see tools there. He knows how to make stuff and whatnot. You know, and he knows how to do things. He got a saw, a table saw, and all stuff like that. You know, and he got a drill set for his Christmas present. You know, we don't have that in Black America. We don't value that. We're a sissified culture in Black America. You know, it's everything is, you know, this, and that's what's taught to us and whatnot. You know, if you look at these stupid reality shows, these deadly clown reality shows and whatnot, why are you sitting around all day and all night? I ain't born United, all day and all night having argument. I was watching this one reality show right the other day, right? I was sitting there watching, I love hip hop. I don't know what the hell it was. And anyway, they were basically like, "Oh, you said this one," and they got the security guy. They got to come and put them apart. With no, but he came at me a certain way. I'm like, I mean, all right, I guess you're an entertainer or whatever like that, but is that really who? I'm sitting to myself, who's watching? I go, well, you're watching. I was like, yeah, I am watching. Why am I watching this shit, you know? But I'm saying is the whole culture, men sitting around all day, their hair done, you know what I'm saying? They got jewelry on, wife beater, and everything, and that's not real life.
No.
Even in the white community, they recognize there's Hollywood, you know, and there's a real life, you know? Real life, your woman is not gonna have a weave, wake up in the morning with a weave on, you know what I'm saying? And eyelashes, you know.
Oh, God, we can't talk about the wave.
We can't talk about weave. Take that back. Don't know, you know, you can't talk about the weave. You know? You can't talk about the weave. I'm gonna get you in trouble, Dance, you know. But the bottom line is this. We as black people, right? I hate to say it. Malcolm X talked about this, right? Why did the white people or whatever on Madison Avenue, Saks Avenue, they make their money off of black women and black people? Why? Because Malcolm X said one of the things they had to fight for in Nation of Islam was the materialism, right? We go down there and like I said, I thought this was happening in my lifetime. It happened before me. You go to Jamaica Avenue, right? Mostly Jews, Greeks, everybody else, right? Black people coming from the South Side or whatever like that, right? And the cash, like the one Jew said a couple of years ago, the liquid money. Black people just come in there and just now it's credit cards and debit cards, whatever, and it's going shopping, you know? It's going shopping and everything. There's nothing wrong with going shopping, right? But other people, man, they rather have something. The Jews are taking that money that you're spending with them and they're investing in real estate and doing other things, you know, because they're unified.
Yeah. Yeah, but that
Hey, Dad, man, brother, let me. I'm gonna get somebody else on here, Dad, man. But brother, we appreciate you calling.
Okay, gotcha.
Oh, no problem, brother.
All right, brother. Good talking to you, bro.
Blue Major.
Hey, what's up, brother? Are you gonna do your disclaimer?
Look who it is, a Commandante.
The Commandante? Why am I called a Commandante, brother?
Brother, comrade.
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 Are we communists?
I don't even know what Commandante means. I said comrade.
Comrade. Okay, cool. That'll work. Are you gonna do your traditional disclaimer, Mr. Amir?
Nah, go ahead, Blue Major. You've been real chill lately, Blue Major. You've been real.
Have I been real chill? I mean, maybe I'm losing my edge. I'm worried. I'm concerned, man. Am I losing my edge, Dynast?
Nah, you gotta lose your edge, man.
Dynast, get yourself some coffee, brother.
Nah, I just had to catch some air.
All right. But, you know, Kyla, man, I'd like to ask you a question, man. You seem to have a real pulse on black society and black history. What do you think caused us to become a group of people that, I guess, repeatedly or seem to be waiting for some kind of a savior? Because I think whenever I hear our issues and I listen to our issues, these issues are real. I do get them. But what I consistently find is that most of these issues can be resolved if we simply just came to the conclusion that we have to do for ourselves. Now, from what I understand from the history that you seem to say, and are very clearly know, and even the picture that Dinah's just presented, it seemed that there was a point in time where we were fine with doing for ourselves. So when did this change happen?
A change happened during right after World War II, right? This is what happened. And let me say something, right? This is very important, right? There was a gentleman by the name of Charles Spurgeon Johnson, right? And Barack Obama. Matter of fact, Barack Obama. There's a secret black elite societies that exist in America, right? And nobody wants to talk about. Right? I'm gonna talk about it now. We call them the blue vein societies. You know, blue veins. There's a secret societies and black elite societies. Some people call them the boule, right? Boule. These people, right, sit on top of Black America, right? And mostly these people are of a mixed African ancestry. They cannot identify fully with white, right? So they're thrust into the black community, right? But these people have always been what we call the talented 10th, right? These people that always rule Black America and everything. They convinced us, right? Like we used to have schools where if the darker you are, if you were in brown paper bag, you were not allowed in this school, this institution, everything. And they had a color-based caste system, right? But they found out that, you know, even though they tried to do all that, right, they still weren't accepted. So they said to themselves, as long as the black people in America, the masses of black people in America, right, are under control, right, they can always position themselves as a buffer class of people, right? That's your Valerie Jarrett's and all these other people that her ilk and everything come from, right? Now, this is what happened, right? After the Garvey movement, right? These are the people that conspired to get rid of Marcus Garvey, right? Charles Spurgeon Johnson wrote the book about Liberia called The Black Republic. And in that book, he basically admitted, right? He admitted in that book that the mass of black people will never be assimilated into America, right? And so therefore, even the presence of all black communities, right, was a threat to their idea of one day assimilating. This is very careful. No one talks about this, right? The leadership of Black America that led black people around believed that the solution to black people's problem was mixing and creating a new race with white people. They're not building institutions, right? Not building anything. Everything was America's problems. Frederick Douglass said that, right? He said that to Lincoln. Lincoln said, no, you guys got to love yourself, to be with yourself, our white race, everything. In other words, this is what you see right now in America. Whiteness is wrong. Black people, our sole goal as black men is to mix with white people and amalgamate the races and make sure like that. They said, Carla, you sound like a black Klansman. No, I'm just talking about reality. The reality of black people don't know anything about this. We just love our business. But you got black people in academia and all these things like that, you know, that want to mix, that tell us that integration, and it's not just integration, just to integrate or like that, which I'm for. These people ultimately want to get rid of the black family, the idea of the black family, the black community as a whole, you know? So therefore, they put all these pathologies, you know, welfare, all these things like that. The image of a strong black male, black female is a threat, right? Why? Because it says that black people could be among themselves, right? If we could be among ourselves, right, then we don't need them. Psychologically, they have to convince us that we have to be American. We have to their values. We have to be Americans. Everything like that. They won't let us be American from a position of strength. We got nice black communities. Okay, you know, we'll come out this war. We're gonna sit this one out. This election. Okay, this candidate we'll vote for. This candidate we don't. You know, we never had that luxury. It's always been we're just okay. Black people. You know, we're just miserable. We're just irredeemable. The only thing we could do is just fight racism forever, right? And hopefully live in a colorblind world. That's what's leading us, right? That's what's in our movies. That's what's in our culture, and that's what it is in everything we do in America. That's why we keep falling for these same things. You know, we're never in a position of, you know, something. You know, I think we're good. We're good. You never hear black people say, "Okay, we're good." We're good. We're good. We don't need to do that. We're good. We're just gonna sit back and seek this one out. We're gonna do this like this. You know, we're never in that position. And all our institutions, right? They're trying to get rid of. You know, I heard recently. Didn't they have a LGBT thing in Morehouse, Dynas? You know,
recently, that's been going on.
Oh yeah. So therefore, this is what they do. You know, LGBTQ stuff, bro.
Oh yeah. So basically, if you're transgender, you could go to Morehouse. So if you're
right.
a woman that identifies as a man, you go to Morehouse.
This is Luke. This is what is going on at the top of Black America. These are supposed to be our elite institutions guiding us, right? And this is what's going on in Black America, right? Because no one takes us seriously. You know, what I'm here to say is I take myself seriously. You know, it's people's bad luck that I was born into this race, right? And this is a race I'm up there. It's easy to be, I ain't African American. No, I am a rep this shit. You know, I'm a Black American. I was born in this, my ancestors were born in chains in this country and whatnot. That's who I am. I can't escape from this, right? Yes, I want to go to Africa. Yes, I want to build all that, like that. But this is where I find myself right now. And this is what we have to fight, because you know why? Not only all this stuff will follow us to Africa, we see now this stuff is waiting for us over there. The same hell we're going through right now, Dynast, is waiting for us in Africa, right? Because we have to kill this demon, this deadly clownism, and this shit right here, because the world is watching us and whatnot. No matter where we go, we're going to be affected by this, you know? So
let me unmute Lou Major.
Yeah.
So I've listened to
Lou. There's a lot of background feedback, so that's why I had to mute you. But go ahead.
No worries. So I listened to what you're saying here, and so Kyle, let me ask you another question here. So Black folks in America, you know, we've been around here since 1619, and so we've been around for 401 years.
Hold on, Lou. I am an indigenous Moorish Choctaw.
That's enough.
Yeah, I'm not.
From Turtle Island. We
all know that's ridiculous. Let's
Columbus. Before Columbus, my tribe, the Navajo, Choctaw, Moors from Turtle Island, we were already here before Columbus.
Okay. You know what? I mean, those people, they believe those things, and there's nothing we can do about that. But let's actually, I actually am here trying to understand some things here. So, black people, you know, are being recognized as being in the Americas. Of course, we know it's been longer than that, but since 1619, 250 years, played the role of participated in chattel slavery. Then after that, did another 100 years or so of Jim Crow. And now we've been, which is another form of apartheid. So now we've been outside of apartheid since 1965. Here we are today. And even with that, since apartheid, there's been a series of things, from redlining to constant deprivation of capital, et cetera, et cetera. Here's my question, Kala. What will it take, in your opinion, for Black people to realize in America that they will never, under any circumstances, ever be accepted in this society? And what will it take for Black America to understand that if they are insistent on being here in America, which is fine, people, if they want to be in America, that's their right. But what will it take for them to understand that the only way that there will be any type of freedom or any type of dignity is if they build something of their own? What do you think it will take for Black America to understand that? Now, before you answer that question, I'm going to go ahead and preface this by telling you what my personal belief is, which is that the only salvation for Black America or Black people globally is divest and reinvest in Africa. Now, Kala, I know you say, you know, on one hand that you believe that, but then on the other hand, you'll say, you know, the negatives of Africa. But I will say this to you.
Sure.
One thing that Africans in Africa do have that Africans in America don't have. Africans in America have a lot of money, $1.8 trillion a year, but you have no dignity. Africans in Africa have very little money, but they have a lot of dignity. Now, for me personally, and it could be because of my personal life belief system, I don't particularly have a lot of value for money, and I do have a lot of value for dignity and self-respect. So my whole thing is, when I listen to you and other Black Americans talk, you know, and I've been, I listen to this guy, Antonio Moore, his girlfriend, Yvette Carnell, I'll listen to people like yourself, and we all talk about. What I listen to is all of the things that are wrong with Black America. What's wrong? What's unfair? You're not as bad as those two. Those people seem to, I think, are genuinely mentally ill. You,
Yeah.
I think, you're just an older man who's angry. But and I understand why you would be angry. But we could talk. We spend a lot of time talking about everything that's wrong with Black America, what's going on, how unfair it is, and everything else. And I would argue that what you're saying is correct. You know, these things are truths, and they are unfair, and they are terrible. But what I'm curious of is what will it take for Black America as a whole to say, you know what? If I'm not going to go to Africa, I'm going to go and find a place where and go to land in America that you do not want, and I'm going to build something of my own there, away from you, or I'm going to leave and I'm going to invest and put my and stake my claim in Africa. Why? Because at this point, it's very hard, personally, for me to feel very bad for Black people in America, because the way I see it is all of the trauma and disrespect that we are enduring in America and thus globally is self-imposed. I know that you don't want to hear that, but
I know. I said that earlier in the show. I said that. I said that earlier. I don't think you probably got it when I said that. I said, look, I said the majority. This half of it is our fault. Half of it is their fault.
no, I don't think it's half is their fault. I now am convinced that it's 90% our fault.
Well, let me say
10% their fault.
There's a lot of white people. There's a lot of white people, right? A lot of white people who basically like people think that white people sitting back like this. There's a lot of white people watch platforms, right? Watching stuff like that. They troll and everything like that. They know there's a friggin' going on in Black America, like between. And so let me give you an example, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was a show that came out on Hulu not too long ago, right? Mm-hmm. It was a show called The Guy, right, of Harlem, something like that, right? With Bumpy Johnson, right? And then it had Malcolm X, right? This is what interesting. Listen to me, Lou, right here. Now they're gonna invest a lot of money in stuff like this. When they don't just go throw money at anything like this, right? Why would you make a movie celebrating Bumpy Johnson? Bumpy Johnson introduced heroin into Harlem, right? My family's from Harlem. You know, my uncles ran with Bumpy Johnson, you know? Then they put Malcolm X in there as if there was some sort of camaraderie between Malcolm X and Bumpy Johnson, which was a lie, you know? So in other words, basically saying, look, we're going to have this hit show, right? We don't want Black people to go completely to Malcolm X, right? That side right here. We don't want Black people, we would like to the gangster stuff. That's what they want. They did the same thing back with Superfly, right? When we were coming out with movies, positive, everything back in the 60s, as long as they control the culture and the narrative of Black America. In the 90s, right? We had groups like Poor Righteous Teacher, everything. It's culture, brother. You know, and then what happened was they gave us Snoop Dogg, Biggie, and all these other people, right? And all the 5%, all the conscious stuff sort of went to the side because like that, you know, because Black people fundamentally are insecure about who we are, right? We put people, we worship money, right? We worship money. We worship all this stuff like that over, like you said, over our dignity, right? White people, this white people sitting out there, the power to beast above.
Colin, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I have to say that I hear everything you're saying, but you're going right back to, you know, somehow this is being the white man's fault. And look, the white man. Let me finish. Let me get a word in edgewise. Kala, I'm willing to acknowledge that we as Black people are under constant attack by white people. That's fairly obvious. I don't think anybody can debate that. That would be a stupid debate. What I'm arguing or what I'm saying is that white people are going to do that because that's in their best interest. Okay? So white people are doing what's in their best interest, and that's what they're supposed to do. Right. It is in their best interest to keep Black people under their boot, because at the end of the day, if Black people were to not be under their boot, if there's one group of people, if I was a white person, if there's one group of people who would keep me up at night, it would be Black folks. I'm pretty sure that almost on a subconscious level, the white man's greatest fear is to wake up in the middle of the night surrounded by Black people with machetes, because he knows that considering all of the behavior that he has done, the one group of people who could take their revenge against them is these Black folks.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do what is necessary to keep their population down. I'm going to convince their women to abort their kids. I'm going to destroy their families. I'm going to put on programming that's going to cause them to do things that is going to destroy their societies. I'm going to do those things. And it's not necessarily personal. That's self-preservation. So ultimately, we could talk about all the white people, things that white people are doing to
Right.
black people, but we have to look at it as what it is, self-preservation. And you
Right.
can't even get mad at somebody for preserving
Oh,
themselves.
look,
Okay.
let me say
Now, let
something.
me get this in. What I'm saying is, what will it take for black people, us, to start doing what white people are doing in preserving ourselves? So
Let me say this.
that's my question. You don't
Okay.
have to tell me the list of all the things white
Okay.
people are doing. We know that.
Let me say it because I don't think I'll finish my last point. The problem is the burden of love, integration, harmony, and everything is on what group of people in America? Who produced Martin Luther King? Was Martin Luther King a white man or a black man? It was a black man.
Yeah.
Black man, right? The civil rights movement, right? Everybody said, "Oh, the civil rights movement, watershed, everything." You cannot say anything bad on civil integration. You know, we have this myth that black people were living so bad before 1964, and next thing you know, oh, everything changed. That's which was a lie. You know, so therefore, the whole thing of integration, all the stuff like that, love, black people. Then you had the Loving situation in 1968. Remember the Loving case, where Supreme Court outlawed racial discrimination as far as marriage. This is what the burden of Black America has been, right? To talk about not self-preservation, like you said, the white man is talking about self-preservation, right? The burden of America and peace and happiness and all that stuff is on the shoulders of the black man and black woman in America, right? Because they gave us our icons, Martin Luther King. They gave us our icons, John Lewis, all these other people,
No,
right?
no, no, no. Hold on.
No, that's the
No, no,
truth.
let's
That's the
correct that.
truth.
No, no, let's
Hey,
correct
that's
that.
the truth, bro.
They didn't
Because
give us our icon.
the bottom line is
No, Kala, let me get this in. They didn't give us our icons. Stop doing that. That's offensive to me as a black person. They didn't give us our icons. They offered us icons and we accepted them.
all right. Okay.
That's right. So stop offending me and my people by robbing us of our agency and saying, well, they did this to us. They did this
Oh
to
no
us.
no
No,
no.
no,
Okay,
no,
all right.
no, no. They
Okay,
simply
I may
offered us
word
something and we
they
accepted.
offered it to us and we take. But I think we're saying the same thing. You know, the bottom line is this though. They put in their media power, their power force. We're sitting there like every time you have an award show, right? They invite us to the Grammys. They invite us to BT Awards. They invite us to MTV. Everything like that. We see our entertainers when I sit down with white people, and now things about Black Lives Matter, right? You got the whole NBA and the Major League Baseball taking a knee, right? All this peer pressure on us to basically say, okay, let's go like this. It was not about black self-preservation. It's about preserving some idea of integration and all stuff like that. We know it's never going to work, but it works for them because white people want to see black people and white people kumbaya and everything. Kumbaya means that I'm going to be weak. I'm going to be defenseless, right? You're soft soaping me, right? We don't have that capability of freeing ourselves, right? Because the burden of the kumbaya is on us. You know, the burden of us. The Chinese people, when you screw them up or whatever like that, they're like, "Oh, screw you! I'll go back to China." Whatever. Every other people have an exit. We as African Americans don't have an exit. We don't have an exit. We don't have an
That's a
alternative.
lie, Kala. That's a blatant lie.
What exit do we have right
And
now?
I would like you, and
What
again,
exit do we
that's
have right now?
insulting and offensive. So the first thing is
No, hold
let's
on. What
actually,
exit, Lou? What exit do we have right now? What exit do we have right
okay,
now?
so I'm going to answer your question, but before you do that, I'm going to actually make a comment about the Chinese. 40 years ago, China was poorer and poorer than Africa. So how did
Lou, let me cut you off. South Korea was poor. Singapore, I don't think even existed.
Mhm.
China was poor. In fact, me and a friend were talking about this today. Nigeria used to lend money to Saudi Arabia and South Korea. Nigeria.
Exactly. And so, how did China become rich? I like using China because I actually have an immense amount of respect for the Chinese. And the reason I have an immense amount of respect for the Chinese is because they proved what they actually proved Booker T. Washington right. The same guy that
But
some
they have
people.
space. They had space. They have a
No,
land.
no, 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 Kala, stop.
No,
Because
no, serious. We don't have a government. Chinese have a government. They
Okay,
have
but
ports.
here's
They
what
have
happened
Hong
with
Kong,
China.
Shanghai.
But
They have
wait,
all those ports. And they have
wait,
operations in Singapore, and everything.
Kala, listen. China was closed off from the world, and here's what
And
Chinese
they
people.
still use Hong Kong.
Okay, wait. What Chinese people did is Chinese people from all over the world who were living in whatever part of the world they were living in, what they would do, and they would form their own communities, and then they would build factories in China, manufacture goods very cheaply, ship them to their respective countries, then sell them to the populace there. And then eventually larger corporations realized that, then moved all their manufacturing to China, and now China is the second largest economy in the world.
Let me ask you this. I think we had this.
Hold on, Colin. What I'm saying to you is, you say black people don't have an exit. Colin,
Hold on, Colin. Come on, Colin. Go ahead, Lou. Go ahead.
I mean,
now, Colin says that black. Colin, wait.
And it's not making excuses. I talked about China. I know that.
Lou. Colin, go ahead, Lou. Hold on, Colin.
Now, Colin, you say that African Americans don't have an exit, and that's just false. Right now, any black American can go ahead and take a DNA test. And if you are able to prove DNA genetic lineage to Sierra Leone or Liberia, and I believe Gambia as well, you'll be able to get a passport. This legislation, by the way, has been in place. No, it is true. Matter of fact, our brother Dynast is about to get a Sierra Leonean passport. So the reality is, and here's the thing, Kala, listen, I understand that there is a large desire amongst a lot of black Americans to hold on to their victimhood so they don't have to acknowledge their failure. But what I'm also saying to you is, what is stopping black Americans right now?
You gotta let me. At some point in time, you gotta let me talk.
I am, but you keep cutting me off. That's why it's taking me longer to get to my point. What I'm saying to you is, at some point, there's nothing that is stopping black Americans today, right now, from doing the exact same thing that Chinese did with Africa. What is stopping us from building factories in Africa?
I got to answer that. You keep going on. You got to let me answer that. You got to.
Okay, go ahead, buddy.
There's a difference. Is this right?
Sure. What's the difference?
The Chinese ethnically in America are one ethnic. We're not ethnically the same. Black America is broken up. We have black people that are divided even in America, right? The Chinese government reaches out, even to this day, reaches out to Chinese students all over the world. You're still Chinese. The Germans tried to do this during World War II, reach back to German ancestry people in America, right? Every other people. There's no country that the question you should ask is to a country like Nigeria, right? And you should ask the countries like Sierra Leone, Angola, all these other people. Why aren't you reaching African Americans and people in the diaspora? That's their responsibility, right? And say go to HBCUs. We have HBCUs, Morehouse, all these things right there in Liberia, right? In Liberia, Sierra Leone, we have the African Methodist Episcopal University throughout West Africa. We have all these things going on between African Americans and Africa, but it's not really. It's tucked. Texas Southern is in Liberia and several African countries, so that stuff is really going on. But on a high level, it takes them from the other side of the Atlantic, right, to say, okay, first of all, these countries can't even take care of their own people. There's 20 million Nigerians living abroad.
Okay, you're full. I say this with an immense amount of respect, but I find what you're saying.
You didn't let me finish.
Go ahead. Continue.
You let me finish talking.
No, you got it. You got it.
Sierra Leone, these countries in massive debt, right? Massive debt, right? When you're talking about doing stuff on a large scale like that, right? You're talking about billions and billions of dollars, right? You don't have the countries in Africa right now, right? And now telling the Chinese like they're dissatisfied about the loans they have because Africa is incurring so much external debt right now, you know. So therefore, with this external debt on the continent between Europe and China and everything like that, how in the world are they going to accommodate bringing black people from America over there? Unless, right, we find a way, right? This is find a way how to pull investment capital from Black America to public-private sector in Africa. That would be a solution, right? That's something I'm all for. And we could basically do that because you got Africa $1.2 trillion that you just said, and we could basically pull and get black investment. We just had an African American group bring $300 million to Uganda a couple months ago. So there's people doing that, right? But on a large scale, right? Remember something. Do you understand, Brother Lou, that the original OAU, the Casablanca group, and all stuff like that was destroyed, and the Monroe group both destroyed, right? And what you have is the African Union is nothing but a franchise operation of the EU, right? With China's financing. We don't have a real OAU like we did back in the 60s, you know? So the idea of Pan-Africanism, right, as originally defined as people from African descent, right, it doesn't exist. Now Africa is defined by anybody on the continent. An Indian born on the continent is an African. A European born on the continent is an African. That's their problem right there, right? So you can't blame that on African Americans, right? That's both sides of the Atlantic are screwing up. So we don't.
Kala, with all due respect, I love you to death, and I want you to know that I respect you. But you're full of shit.
That's the truth, though.
Guys, real quick, let me read this super chat. Shout out to Layman Sane, my Sierra Leonean brother, or he's from Liberia, one of the two. Dinah's good show. Question for Kala: do you think 1965 Jim Crow and independence of many African countries around that time is a coincidence? It is a coincidence. So, because
let me say something. At the time, right, when you had the 64. And John Henry Clark said this. You know, he said, "Look, it was a great awakening on the earth. You had what brought the independence movement in Africa was not no kumbaya like the civil rights movement, right? What brought the independence movement, it wasn't independence, right? They gave them self-government in some cases, right? You had groups like Mau Mau, you had a war raging in the Congo and stuff like that. And so the Europeans said, look, if we're gonna lose everything, right? Let's give them so-called independence. All they did was let Africans manage their shit. That's all it was. There was no independence in Africa. Independence, what happened, what had Indonesia. You know what Indonesia did? They had a war. They drove all the Europeans out, right? And they took all the monuments, all the names, everything in the Dutch out. They stripped everything down and started off from bare. They said, we're going to start from nothing and build it up right. Africa kept the same statues, the same government.
Listen. Listen. Let me go ahead and say something here, and get this word in edgewise. You know, here's the deal. I hear whenever we have these discussions, one of the things that you consistently hear from our fellow African Americans, amongst the many other things that are said, is how bad Africa is, how Africa doesn't have its shit together, how Africa doesn't have this, how Africa doesn't.
Situation.
Listen. And I would actually, you're not going to get a debate from me on that. Africa definitely has its problems. But what I'm also hearing as I'm listening to a lot of our brothers and sisters talk is I understand now why so many African Americans are poor. And I say this with no offense, but what you don't realize is all of these things that Africa doesn't have. Do you know what that actually means? That's opportunity, right?
Opportunity.
So we could sit here and continue to suffer in somebody else's system that does have all these things, or we can go to a place where that doesn't have a lot of things, and then we build those things and give it to them.
Yeah, bro,
so
we're doing it, bro. Lou, I have a team going to Angola in October.
I'm sure you do have a team. When the team's actually there, we can talk about the team that's there.
I'm going to be over there soon too. The bottom line is we're doing all, but the problem is this. That's just me, and that's just a few other people, right? The whole thing is this. It's like anything else, bro. Like anything else, right? It's called the bum rush. You know that term, the bum rush. Bum rush is your bum thing. Mm-hmm. Black people roll by the bum rush, right? When people they catch what Bill Marquis said, remember catch the papers for that, the bum rush, probably bum rush show. When black people start seeing real progress over there, it's gonna take pioneers, everything like that. Because when people start seeing, wow, man, these brothers went over there and started their own mining operation, farmer, and they're doing well. Guess what? The bum rush happened. Just like the millions of Chinese bum rush Hong Kong. They said, man, we don't have to do a thing. Like 8 million Chinese bum rush into the ports of Hong Kong and whatnot, and this country has not stopped growing since then. Hong Kong's economy, real estate just grew. Some of those Chinese went to Singapore.
Let me look at it real quick. In fact, we're having this discussion today how it's going to just happen all of a sudden. The bum rush. All of a sudden, it's just going to just click.
Everybody flooding in. All this is right here. Like I said this to my brothers the other week, right? You know what we have to be like, Brother Lou? We have to be like this. If you look at the Congo River, that's where my ancestors come from, right? The Congo River, if you look at the Congo River on Google Earth, right? The Congo River doesn't get to the ocean and stop. It pushes 500 miles to the ocean. It says whatever the ocean, I'm going to freaking bust right through it, right? We're doing that. We're saying we're going to push, right? And I know there's a resistance right now between self-doubt, apprehensions on the continent and everything like that, but we're keeping pushing. And then guess what? When those levees break or breach, whatever like that, it's going to be this big rush of people, and it's going to be a transformation. And we don't want to say, how the hell did this happen? That's what we're doing right now. We're chipping away at the little by little and whatnot at the resistance to this thing. Trust me, I'm all for what you're saying, but it's taking little by little. And then one day, it's going to be this big rush, like a river, breaching a dam. It's going to, like, what the hell happened? And you're going to see black people from America all again. This nightmare called America is going to be a long thing in the past,
So let me get this straight. If I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying that one day African Americans are going to suddenly wake up, and then there's just going to be this rush to Africa.
They're not going to have no choice. They're going to have no choice because the
okay. So you're saying to me, so now this seems to get progressively worse. Sounds like you're saying that the only way Black Americans are going to figure out what everybody else has figured out, and what is blatantly obvious is when they are forced into this corner and have no choice. Because if that's what you're saying, that is incredibly offensive.
It's like this, brother. A lot of black people, their solution is this. If you live in Detroit, right, the black person like, well, I'm moving to California, or I'm moving to here, Toronto, I'm moving to here, and whatnot. That's as far as one thing. People get, all of a sudden they take you where we go. And so therefore, people moving around, whatever like that. Everybody's finding things. Look at George Floyd, right? Where was he at? He was from Houston, right? And he ended up in Minneapolis, right? Black people move around all the time, right? So if you're gonna make Africa an option, right, it has to be okay. I'm over here after a year, and it gets back. Well, how do you think people came to New York? My ancestors came from the South to New York. Why? Oh yeah, he's up there now, and he's on longshoreman. All my father and everybody else, they made their bones. They came to New York as not longshoremen, right? They said, yeah, they were able to send money back down to the South and everything. I'm going up there too. It's a rite of passage, So therefore, people say, okay, come up there. You get longshoremen, hard backbreaking work or whatnot. You're able to buy a house, get married, everything like that. So therefore, those things happen. No one ever gave Black America anything. Black people, the success of Black America is through example. And somebody said, Colin got mental issues. Whoever this dude is on the freaking chat, call the fuck in.
Listen, let's not worry about what somebody is saying on a chat. Okay, people are saying that I'm wrong, but don't have the balls to call. Let's not worry about them. Let's actually let's be productive on this conversation.
Somebody said, let Luke call Luke Collar, man. Who are these coward?
No, okay, Collar. Don't worry about people who are writing. If a person is serious about what they have to say, they'll call in. So I don't even look at the chat. So let's focus on what's actually relevant, which is this discussion. Because here's my position on this issue. I as a Black person, okay, I am tired of constantly hearing fellow Black people complain all the time.
I saw mine, bro.
Okay, and now there's entire movements, YouTube channels, in varying degrees that are devoted to Black people being victims and waiting for a handout. And you have to understand that me as a Black person, that is humiliating.
Of course, bro.
Now, listen. For me, I see the only solution for Black people at this point is to build something of their own where they will have the ability to build it. Hey, now, bro, here's the deal. Listen. I'm going to use a group that I would say that's very similar in terms of their history, besides certain other things, to us, and that would be the Jews. The Jews were a stateless people for a very long period of time, and all the Jews really needed and looked for was a place that they can go to build something for themselves that would allow them to do so. So they weren't saying, well, this place has these XYZ problems. They simply said, if I can go there and I will be allowed to build something for myself, then I'm content. Now, America has said, you know what? You can't build something for yourself here because we'll ransack it, we'll destroy it. That's what they've said to us. Okay, fair enough. I can understand that. They have told me that this is not an environment in which they will allow me to build something for
Right.
themselves or myself. And you have to understand the Jews experienced that too. They would go to different places, they would build up their community, to start acquire some wealth, and then that society would go ahead and slap them down. And then they would all scatter, they would go to the next place and do the exact same thing. So my whole thing is, well, right now, based off of what I'm seeing, Africa is the only place, and maybe we could say to a certain extent some
Well,
parts of the
hold on.
Middle East.
What I understand is, where do we disagree? I agree with you 100%.
Well, I mean, what I hear is all of the negatives, and I'm not saying just you. I'm talking about a lot of African Americans.
I always talk up the positives about Africa. I spray all the time. You follow me in my social network when I always talk about this. When I put an article up the other day. My brother's Mark Blanton and his wife are in South Africa. They doing really good things. You know, he's from Virginia too. Well, I said so. He do. I showcase all this all the time. I got so many things talking about this housing development over here. African Americans investing here. I'm always doing that. Bro.
Okay, so then here's my question to you, Kala.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying is, if we're in agreement, and I'm going to say that we are, right? Then here's my question to you as an older black man. What will it take? What will be required for our people to stop making excuses? Stop embracing
hold on. This is what I need. I'll tell you right now. This is what I need. All the people that we have this thing in the BAL called the Black Power Americans and the Do It Right Here, you know. Right? A lot of these black militants you see, right? That especially that clown show that happened in Georgia, right? These are Do It Right Here's. We're gonna rise up, and also let's talk about the elephant in the room. Tone talks to Yvette Carnell. The whole reparations debate is an excuse to hold on to a relationship with America. Did they know that reparation check is never going to come? So therefore, if you say, forget the reparation check, I'd rather have my own land. I'd rather build in Africa, right? You cannot have both. You cannot sit here and say, we're going to vote for our reparations. We're going to plead for our reparations. And then talk about Africa at the same time. You never hear me talk about reparations. I know it's just a stall tactic to stay in America. That's all it is. Dynast, right? Remember 2 years ago when Black Panther came out and whatnot? Yvette Carnell was not talking about reparations until when, right? When we started talking about building in Africa, Dynast came along. Oh man, well, what about what America owes us? We're like, forget that. We're talking about Africa. Dynast Samir was my first guy, Dynast Samir, and she went on the stage about, well, America owes us. Then America owes us came to, she got lashed in with the reparations people, right? So in other words, the ADOS people, right, are saying their identity is sitting here, waiting on wearing the American flag, being an American victim, but you're waiting for the check from America to affirm yourself, right? So therefore, if people keep taking these people seriously, right, the Yvette Carnell, the Tone Talks, the Tariq Nasheeds and everything, there's nothing we can do. All we can do is keep saying what we're saying, right? And people are like, oh, well, Colin, man, you're right about this and whatnot, and I haven't been to the continent yet. But they're like, people go over there, well, geez, man, you're right. I think I could do this over here, whatever, like that and everything. And so the bottom line is this: all we can do is just keep saying, all I can do is keep showcasing Dynast and everybody else is doing the work and saying this is what's going on, right? They don't want that. They want this whole thing, Brother Lou, to end. They want us all that's talking about Africa and all that. They want this in. You even had Haven Bullets. He thought this was the most stupidest thing in the world a couple of years ago. Now he's like, oh, I don't know what to say, man. Yeah, the year of return, you had people investing and people are feeling strong. Now people are freaking arguing back and forth about which country in Africa is better. I think we made a lot of progress, Brother Lou. I think we made a lot of progress. You got people sitting there beefing between Gambia, Team Nigeria, Team Ghana. That's a debate. It wasn't before. It was like, well, Africa or America. Now it's which country is the best. You got Team South Africa, you got Team Angola, you got Team Kenya. And all stuff like that. So I think we are making a lot of progress. And then when, like I said, one day, I don't know when it's going to come, it could be tomorrow, you're going to see a big explosion. Why? Because when the opportunity comes and everything, and people know that they can have land infrastructure nationhood, LIN, as we always say in the BAL, LIN, land infrastructure nationhood and whatnot, Black people will go. If they have some sort of nationhood where they have some say, some sort of community and stuff like that, able to build infrastructure, institutions, everything like that, and they say, okay, well, what do I need to be here for? It's just common sense.
Okay, well, let me read. Shout out to Mufasa. Black Americans don't need to wait for Africa to come hold our hand or invite us. No one else that is in Africa now waited for that. No excuses. Yeah, that's the thing. I'm tired of we need an invitation stalling tactic.
All right, that's a stalling tactic.
Can I ask a question? And I know this may be offensive to you, Kala, but can I ask why can't Black Americans just simply go to Africa and integrate into their culture?
Well,
why do you need a nation? And let me explain to you why. Because how do you think Black Americans would model this said nation? Do you think maybe they might bring with them what they've learned over the past, say, 400 years? Maybe they might bring Western ideologies and Western mindsets to the continent.
Well, let me say this, brother. Let me say this, right? The idea of this has a problem in Africa right now. And like you look at the Eat, Love, and Migrate's last video, and it's very, very telling. She talked about that. It's similar.
Kyle, let me cut you off. That's Ghana. Ghana does not represent.
Okay. All right. Now, the whole thing is this. Now, someone said to me the other day, they said South Africa. I put this thing and said, why is African Americans seem like they're doing so well and comfortable in South Africa, right? And then South Africans tell me, they said, well, you're in Africa. Like I said, I something I really believe. I think a lot of people just don't want to see African Americans happy. There's always conflict and everything. So you got to go with countries like Namibia. Black people in America do really, really well. Tanzania, they do really, really well. South Africa, Botswana, countries like that, they do really, really well. No tribal conflict, no nothing like that. It's a modern culture, There's modern Africa does exist, and so therefore you got people in what you call. Let me ask you a question. Should the Igbos right now? There's a conflict going on in Nigeria between Yorubas and Igbo. Igbo says our time to have a presidency. You got Igbos talk about succeeding. You got the Delta region talk like this. I think they don't want nothing to do with the houses. The houses don't want to do with the Igbos. They're kicking Igbos out of the north and everything like that, right? Should Africa basically show by example that you could assimilate with each other before they talk about telling us to assimilate into something that's not even happening?
Okay, but I know you're gonna find this to be offensive, but right. Unfortunately, it's true. I'm sure you can sit there and point the finger at Igbos and whoever else and say, hold on. But I would argue, okay, that African tribes, irregardless of the tribe and irregardless of their even tribalistic imperfections, have a superior culture than African Americans.
Do you really think so?
They are in almost every conceivable way. Hold on.
I don't believe that.
And you could not believe it all you want, wait. Let's speak honestly.
Relevant to
what let's speak. Hold on. Be offended if you want to, but here's actual facts, right?
I'm not offended. I'm the biggest.
What Africans struggle with in Africa, and I'm telling you this as a person who's here, what they have a problem with is obviously a lack of exposure to information. Not everybody has access to internet access, electricity, but above all is a deprivation of capital. When Africans are not in Africa and they're in some place else where they have access to resources, they tend to thrive within their own cultural context. Doesn't matter if they're
in Italy right now. There's so much poverty among Nigerian immigrants in Italy and whatnot. It's unreal.
That is normative. Like that. Well, hold on.
Look at the black community in UK.
It is. Listen, Kala, quit being emotional. You're a man. Act like that. Okay. So
you said that.
Quit being emotional. I'm saying to you. You want to know one of the highest earning classes in America right now? The immigrant group.
I got to see the facts on that.
What I'm saying to you is,
is Robert Smith. Is Robert Smith the richest black man in America? Is he Nigerian?
Okay. His wealth is dwarfed by Dingote.
Okay.
This is just not a direction you want to go.
You said outside of Nigeria, right? Is Robert Smith a Nigerian or an African American?
Sure, he's African American, but what's your point?
So Bob, are any Nigerian billionaires made their money inside of America?
I'd have to get back to you on that.
No, there's
and actually,
none. There's none.
and also
There's
too,
none.
that's not particularly relevant.
It is relevant. You said that you brought up the fact that outside
I'm saying to
Nigeria,
you,
they
I'm
thrive.
saying to
You
you,
said
I'm saying
outside
to
Nigeria's been here for 30 years.
All right, I got okay. This is what we're gonna do. This is what we're gonna do. All right. Lou Major, you got 2 minutes. Colin, don't say nothing. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm saying to you,
Lose my brother. I know.
Look, Colin, don't say nothing. Colin, he's still talking. Go ahead, Lou.
okay, I'm not here to say African Americans are bad. I'm saying that African Americans are trying to replicate a culture that is not their own. You're trying to replicate an American culture that thrived and grows off of the idea of the oppression of others. For America and the West to succeed, it has to succeed off of the oppression and the rape and murder and enslavement of others. That is the culture that Black Americans seem to want to adopt. That's why we're a consumerist culture. Everything about us is about consumption. Our music is about consumption. Everything is about consumption. And I would say that that is an inferior culture to a African culture that is not about consumption, that is about family, education, that is about community. Now, what Africans have had to experience and continue to experience is an ongoing, continuous deprivation of capital, deprivation of resources, deprivation of information. But when they are given that opportunity, they tend to do much better than everybody else. And so I'm saying, why don't African Americans bring their capital to Africa? So give Africa the capital and take on the culture. They have culture, you have capital. That's a natural marriage. I would not say African American culture is one to be proud of. What is there to be proud of in your culture?
Right,
You've been here. Hold on. African Americans have been in America for 400 years. For 250 years, your ancestors allowed enslavement. You allowed enslavement. You could say that we were enslaved or whatever else, but at the end of the day, slavery is a choice because there are a lot of African Americans who prefer to die than to live as a slave. They died. The ones who chose to live lived as slaves for 250 years and taught their kids and their kids' kids how to be slaves. And then another 100 years, African Americans endured, quote unquote, Jim Crow. 100 years of being hung and deprived of your humanity and self-respect and dignity. 100 years of that. And then, since then, we continue to do on minstrel voluntarily for the sake of money, do minstrel show after minstrel show and allow homosexuality, transgenderism, and every other disgusting thing be imposed on us over and over and over again. We build towns, we allow ourselves to get slaughtered and murdered, and then we sit there and say, oh my God, there's nothing I can do. And now the only thing we're holding on to is that of a victim. That is not a culture to be proud of. There's no dignity in that. Now, what I'm saying to you is, why don't you go to Africa, give up this culture that is completely useless to you, bring your money, and then modernize an actual culture that has been around for 60,000 years, that has real roots and real validity, and regain some of your dignity. Because at this point, African Americans have no dignity. There's no self-respect. How can you say that when you have people who's like 400 pounds shaking her ass in front of kids? That is the image of Black America to the world.
Right.
And we consume that. When you have people like city girls pretty much touting prostitution, and we consume it. So what is there to be proud of? There is nothing to be proud of.
Bro,
and even if back in the even when you say, well, back in the day we used to do this, we used to do that. You know what? African Americans did used to do that, but then they allowed themselves to be overrun by white people and slaughtered, and then gave up afterwards. Oh well, we got slaughtered, so I guess we should quit now. That is not a history to be proud of. And we could, and we spit, and now we're begging for a check. No, listen, we're sitting around begging for a check, reparations. We sit around, throw ourselves pity parties and YouTube channels, sitting there saying, "Oh, we deserve reparations," and maybe you do, but you're never going to actually do anything. What culture is there? Hold on, I've been in 2 minutes. I said, what culture is there to actually be proud of? I'm saying, give up that culture. It's a shit culture anyway. Take on African culture and just bring your money. Bring your money and help Africa build so that way you could give your kids a better culture, a better society, a better opportunity, rather than trying to hold on to something that's not worth shit anyway. Because what does it produce for you? What does it actually produce that you own? I'll wait.
Okay, well, this is what I want to say. Okay, you said a whole bunch. I thought it was just going to be 2 minutes, right? Now, no one's sitting here defending the fuck shit in Black African American. There's a lot of stuff about Black African American. This is my whole point, right? There's a lot of African American things and culture and everything like that. We have more authors than any other group of Black people in the world. You know, our story is told all over the world and everything that shaped the whole entire planet. You know, music, you know, art, everything like that. You know. It was Festac. Lou, have you ever heard of the 1977 Festac, the Festival of African Culture? You ever heard about that?
Yeah, no, I haven't. Tell me about it.
This is what I'm talking about. This is very, very important, right? Festac was one of the largest events. It was largest events of African Americans, and diasporas coming together in Lagos, Nigeria, at the new Lagos Arena that was there, right? I think it's abandoned now, right? Stevie Wonder was there. I mean, it was African arts and cultures for like for a period of a few days, right? The largest contingent, right? It was supposed to be from Black people from all over the world, right? The largest gathering, right, of outside of Nigeria, right? Guess what? Who the largest group of people attending were?
Tell me.
It was African Americans.
Okay.
The largest group. So this idea that you're peddling that African American, when an African American, Fela Kuti, right? He came to Harlem. He didn't go to Jamaica. He went to Harlem, right? Hugh Masekela. He was influenced by African American culture, James Brown, everything like that. So when you keep saying so, give up, like, you can't just give up who you are.
A slave?
I know a lot of people don't like that. You cannot give up who we are. African American culture has a lot to say to the world.
African American history is a history of people who voluntarily were slaves.
The bottom line is this: what you see with Fela Kuti is influenced by African American culture. You know, the Kala Kuti Report, the whole like there is the experience he had in Harlem among Black America and whatnot. He created a whole cultural movement in Nigeria. So this idea that African Americans, their culture is so bad and everything, that's what the white man thinks. I don't never say value in every single group of Black people have something to bring to the table, including African Americans.
Us being very good at entertaining people, that is not necessarily going to be to me. Bro, but that's what you just said. You just said to me, well, this guy, he saw the music, and again, man, like our good, we're good at entertaining.
Black culture, when you sing songs, you're telling a story. You're passing a narrative.
Okay, but that is not culture. That's entertainment. Culture is defined by a belief system and a code of conduct that is shared amongst a group of people for the development of norms within that group. Okay. So the result of a culture. Now listen, music. Listen, man. Listen. Hold up. You gotta stop cutting me off, Kyle.
You talking 4 minutes. I didn't finish what I was saying.
Okay.
You 4 or 5 minutes, you know?
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
You know? What I'm saying is the culture, right, evolves, right? When you go to another place, right? You go to a place. You go to North Carolina, right?
Kyle, let me ask you the Kyle real quick. So what in 2020, what has it evolved into?
Well, it's devolved, like I told you at the top of the show, right? What is seen as Black culture, right? What is seen as Black culture, right? It's not really Black culture. You go to church, you go to any church, Black church and whatnot, right? And you'll see some of Black culture. You'll see some rhythm and blues. There's still jazz shows that go on. You go to parts of Harlem and whatnot, you'll see readings and whatnot, book readings, stuff like that. We have them down here, poetry readings, you know, and stuff like that. What you see on TV is not really Black culture. Black culture is in the family. You go to somebody's family reunion in the South, you'll see Black culture. You'll see certain things people say and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? You got still things that happen in our communities. There's mores, values, and things we say among ourselves that people won't even pick up. me and a real black man could be having a conversation just with code words and stuff like that a white person probably can't even pick up. That's what real black culture is. If you're a real black man, you would understand that, you know?
Sure, you know what? Sure. You know what? Let's run with that thought. So real black culture is all of the things that you have described. So for me, I'm going to look at this from a results-driven basis. How are the results of quote unquote real black American culture? Now, we're great entertainers. We are good at making people dance and sing songs. We're good at dunking a basketball and catching a football.
Yeah, but that's the way white people think.
But wait, okay. So you're saying real black culture. Let's talk about that. What's the result? Whoa, hold on. What is? No, I'm asking you. I want you to answer the question that I just asked you. What is the result? Okay, let's just say that what we see on TV is fake. What is the result of quote unquote real black culture? Is it producing intact functional families?
Bro, the bottom line is this.
No, Kyle, answer the question that I just asked you.
The culture, what we're doing right now, brother, like you said, like if the ultimate goal, we're living in a culture, like look at American culture. American culture is the family structure's in trouble across the board.
Exactly. So let's run with that. So if what you just said is correct.
So what I'm saying, let's not single out Black America, right?
Okay, but brother, then you just agreed with me. If American culture as a whole is a culture that's going down the tubes, as you just said. Wait, Kala, listen, you're being way too emotional, man. I'm not talking to a woman. Okay, I'm saying if American culture is going down the tube, why wouldn't you just abandon that culture and say, you know what, I don't want to be part of that, and go towards another culture?
You're preaching to the choir, right? I came to that.
Then why was it so consistent?
Look, bro, Lou, I cannot speak for the next man. I can't tell you what the next man does. All you can say is, Colin believes this. He understands what I'm talking about, and trust me, have my word at it. You know, you're preaching to the choir. You're singing to the choir. You know, the bottom line is you asked about why Black people get. That's a vague abstraction. Black people.
Okay, so
Black people who are in my circle who agree with me. You know?
Okay, so what I'm saying to you is now you're individualizing it when we're talking about a group. I'm saying to you, sure, we have individuals. I'm saying, now one might say, well, African culture isn't so great. It has problems. And I would have to say, sure, it does have problems. It could get better in a lot of different ways. However, what African culture does produce is intact functional families. What African culture does produce is sound management.
Now, check this out. My brother Omar, my co-host, my partner on my radio show. Remember, Wednesday nights, 11 p.m. Eastern Time, College Nation Radio. You want to hear this topic and more and whatnot? We're affiliated 150 stations around the world. Whatnot. Wednesday night, Gangster Radio, www.gangsterradio.com/the College Nation. Right. Anyway, my brother Omar, I know he's probably listening to this, right? I had to say, look, Lou, it's like this. Let's switch places, right? I had the same argument, right? That you're saying, right? Intact families and everything, right? He's telling me he's been to Africa several times. He said, man, African men have more women. They're leaving babies around the place and everything. So maybe J-Mall should come on here and say his experience. I was saying the same thing. We used to get intact families, a culture like that. And he's like, oh, it's like the culture. Our culture is different. We don't value family and stuff like that. He said he found evidence that Africans have multiple abandonment children. They got a child abandonment problem all over Africa. So it's not all roses and petals over there, like you say, brother.
Wait a minute. I never said that. And what you're now doing is doing something called a straw man logical fallacy, in which case you're building up an argument that I never made and beating up on that argument.
Lou,
what I'm saying to you is that their culture.
You just said that. You just said
no. I said in general, the numbers would actually indicate. Wait, hold on. The numbers would actually indicate that Africans are more likely to produce.
More likely.
So what I'm saying to you is, by the numbers, they have a superior culture than you do. And so what I'm saying is, and not only that, it's a culture that's over 60,000 years old. So it's not only it's got buoyancy to it. It's had a bad 100 years, but it's got 60,000 years. It's got 59,900 years behind it that are pretty damn good. So what I'm saying to you is, rather than holding on to something that for 400 years has produced the willingness to be enslaved, be hung on a regular basis, be beaten, respected, and humiliated over and over and over again, to be the laughing stock of the world, to be seen as entertainment. Go ahead and dance, monkey, dance, sing a song. That's what black people are seen as. Why don't you go ahead and abandon that culture and go and opt for the culture?
Bro,
You
man,
can't-
I'm
which
all
is
for,
60,000 years old, it produces better.
Look, have you realized, man? Black people, the last couple of years, we've been on this Wakanda shit, man. You know, and the bottom line, ain't nobody thinking about American culture and all that stupid shit, man. We were trying to get back to Africa, bro. He's singing to the choir.
Okay, listen, Kala, you are quite fascinating in the sense that you go back and forth fairly quickly. Because 1 minute you're talking about the next one you're saying the top. Go down.
I think you're
You got
misunderstanding what I'm saying, or you just want to argue. I mean, you're misunderstanding. I'm agreeing with you on all the stuff like that, right? But I'm saying it's like you're just saying, well, just abandon culture. I can't just tomorrow say, yo, look, forget all of it. Look, that's the process, bro. You know, integration, assimilation, is something that takes hundreds of years to do. You know,
forced assimilation takes hundreds of years. Voluntarily assimilation takes one generation.
Yeah, but the thing is, bro, you first got to get black people to the continent, right?
Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about that, which is my original question. What will it take?
Marriage, trade, business, and all stuff like that. Communion, you know, all those things bring people together. Why not that? Why are we talking about black people like a lab rat?
So how do we create that? How do we create trade?
Hold on. Let me you just answer the question, right? And like I said, Diane, we got anybody else coming on? That really got
we got one more person. I'm just waiting
one more person. I gotta get to that person, then I gotta go. I'll say, check this out. This is the whole thing, Lou. I don't know. Haiti. I don't know Haiti. Okay, let me see. And I got a lot of respect for Haiti, right? But in the South, right, we have this thing called what we call. I don't, and I never really studied. Excuse me, I never really studied the history of Haiti as far as like dealing with foreigners and stuff like that. In most of the countries on the Atlantic seaboard here and everything, the Louisiana and everything, we have this thing in black culture called Creolism. You know, that means people from different dialects and everything would form another thing. You have the Gullah people, you know, Gullah people. Oh Lord, you have the Gullah people and everything like that would basically speak English. They will speak French, Spanish, everything. It's an amalgamation of different cultures and everything, and they basically will call what they call a Creole or pidgin culture, right? The same thing happened in Sierra Leone, right? A pidgin, you know, and they have the different dialects and everything like that. Over the time, the cultures become more similar to each other. In Liberia, they call it a Colloqua, you know, Liberian Colloqua. A culture of Liberia, as I've studied it, it's English, it has all different African dialects, everything like that. And over the time period, Liberia developed into a homogeneous culture, amalgamated with all of them together, right? And so, therefore, this idea that, you know, like, and also, if you look at it, Benin, you know, Oyo, right? Timbuktu, those are all Creole culture, right? Different things. It mixes Arabic with indigenous language, everything like that.
What we said, Benin.
Benin, the Benin city. Benin City was a metropolis.
Benin was a Creole. That was straight African black culture. That was a Creole.
But didn't Benin have other people from different parts of Africa? And I'm just throwing Benin out there. I'm assuming.
Nah, Benin. That was...
city. But the Benin also, they spoke Dutch too, you know, and Portuguese. Portuguese was spoken in Benin, and Dutch was spoken in Benin. That's a fact. Dutch traders, Portuguese traders were there. Look it up.
Yeah, but it wasn't a Creole culture. I mean, they might have came in.
No, I'm saying not Creole. No, Creole means the people could speak different dialects. You know what I'm saying? I'm not with Creole. I mean, people speak multiple dialects. In all the trading centers, people speak different dialects, and people know how to learn how to communicate. And that's pretty much how I go. Lagos was the same way. Amalgamation of different African dialects and cultures and everything. So that part right there, I don't know what to tell you. Kano, they speak indigenous Fulani. Hausa, and also they speak Arabic. You know,
Okay.
that's a fact.
Mr. Strikes Back, go for it, man. Go ahead. You're up.
I mean, this is the reality. You know, I went out, like from the time I was last on Dynast, I was, trying to, talking about the different issues. I saw there was a need in the community. There was a need in the world for a plan for Africans to be able to basically, diasporans to be able to like start the first steps towards, land ownership in Africa, just starting to push back against the other races that are trying to take over Africa. That was 2 months ago. Now I have like over 65 people, in an investment group, and we're buying land in Africa. When I see that, when I do that, I hear about Lou Major. He's doing great work in Ghana. I heard about you, brother, even from outside sources other than YouTube. But Kala, I mean, my thing is this: the history lessons are fine. The internet information that which is not from firsthand experience, is cool. But I have to ask, what exactly is BAI doing? What is the need for it? Wait, let me finish. Let me finish. I'm asking you a question. What is the need for it? And why does it exist? And what is it doing to perpetuate the expansion of Africans, the diasporans around the globe? Because what I'm hearing is, I'm hearing you going in on Lou Major, but I heard about what Lou Major's doing.
Hold on. First of all, being Lou Major, cool.
Yeah, we're fine, man. And this is not a dick measuring contest. I'm not gonna.
No, it's not. It's not a dick measuring contest, Kala. But what I'm telling you is what uniquely qualifies you to speak on anything, because I'm waiting for you to announce a project or something.
Hold on. We're having a discussion here, right? You came on the platform.
That's the problem. We're having a bunch of circular discussion, but I'm waiting for you to say why you are qualified to say what you're saying.
When you come on here,
I'm asking because I want to ask that question.
You come on here just to beef with me? Is that what you want?
I came on to ask you that question, and I want an answer.
Just tell me if that's what you want.
Okay, hold up. Enough of this. We are all a bunch of men acting like women. This is disgusting. Okay? Listen, Kala, even if he said something that might have been offensive, there's no need to be emotional. Brandon, you didn't have to come off like a dick. We are men. Let's act like it.
The bottom line, we're trying to have a
That's ridiculous, man.
I don't need nobody coming here talking all mess. And like I said, the bottom line, he says this internet information, but he just gave me some stuff that he got off the internet.
I'm not trying to disrespect you. I'm asking an honest question, brother. You are the leader of an organization, and I want to know what you're doing.
Well, Kala, you know what, Kala? Here's the deal. Why don't you actually say what you're doing? I'm sure you're doing something. Just answer the man's question. Don't need to be emotional about it.
I cannot discuss what I'm doing.
That's a question, man to man.
I cannot discuss what I'm doing on the air. I'm not going to do that. If you want to discuss one night, you was in my social network. You took yourself out, so you don't know. As a matter of fact, I'm late for a conference call right now. So if you don't know, if you're not in my network, you don't need to know what's going on.
I mean, the reason why I ask is because Kala, I hear a lot of what you're saying, and still a lot of what you're saying makes sense. But also,
I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing.
Okay,
do what you're doing, but what I'm asking
too much. Dude, this is
let's go ahead. Too much, we'll go ahead and close out.
This is too much, bro.
Here we go. Lou Major, anything you want to share in closing?
Well, first things first, I'm going to go ahead and say shout out to you, Brandon, man. I'm glad you got a group of 65 together, man. Dynast, go ahead and give Brandon my contact. Brandon, get in contact with me. Maybe we could go ahead and combine forces. I'm glad you're actually making things happen. So I expect to be contacted by you in a fairly short period of time. Kala, hey, man, listen, man, I'm sure you're doing a lot of great things. And I'm not here to, judge what you are or not doing. We're not going to do that. But what I am going to say is I need to know what the breaking point is for my people, because I'm going to be honest with you. This is humiliating. It is humiliating that we're constantly, almost seems like we are.
Lou, I know the breaking point. I think I know the breaking point. Somewhat. This is somewhat the breaking point right here, Lou. If Joe Biden loses the election and Trump wins, that might be, that might if Donald Trump wins the election again, that might be somewhat, maybe. Now they was threatening, and Trump win, we gonna leave. We gonna leave America. We gonna leave. They said that the first time, they still here. So maybe the second.
That's why I'm campaigning for Trump right now.
They gonna wait 4 more years.
Yeah, they gonna wait 4 more years. Yeah.
Brother, I'm gonna say something, man. I personally, I think everybody on your platform should vote for Donald Trump in this upcoming presidential election. Because if there's one thing I know Trump will do, is he will go ahead and accelerate the demise of the American empire, and that is good for the world. So if you really,
he's already destroying NATO.
If you love black people, go vote for Donald Trump.
He's bringing down China, destroying NATO. Now, what else can you ask for? I can't believe this is happening. He ignored Africa. He was like, he don't do that. Yeah, we want. He don't even know it exists. That's good. Had Hillary Clinton won and whatnot, she'd be renaming the Congo right now. Look what Hillary and Bill did to Haiti. Come on. I mean, I know a few things in life and whatnot. I mean, I think so. I don't.
Vote Trump 2020, guys. Vote Trump. But what I am going to say is like
I'm going for Trump 2020.
Vote Trump. Vote Trump. Matter of fact, I'll wear a fucking MAGA hat. Vote Trump 2020. What I'm saying is that we have to have a very different mentality of this because, frankly, I've grown tired of this constant, and I do mean constant, complaining and bitching and moaning like a bunch of women. Oh, everything is an excuse. Well, but they have this, but they have that, but they have this, but they have that. And look, man, I don't know. Maybe I'm toxic masculinity, but I don't understand this concept of constant talking and constant complaining and constant bitching. Frankly, I hate it to a certain level. Like, I can't even be around people who do that. And what I'm saying is we got to do, I just want to know what it's going to take for our people to understand that what we're doing is not working. And you know what? You know what interview I would actually encourage people to actually go watch? When Nick Cannon interviewed that rabbi, he had to, he was all trembling and shaking because he got bitched by the Jews. But that rabbi said something at the very beginning. People respect strength. And if you go into a room and you are weak, and everyone knows that you are weak, then you have zero chance of influencing change. So what I'm saying is, where's the point in time that we're going to actually show power? Africa.
I never got the chance to ask Lou, and I really got to go. I never asked Lou, what do you thought about that show of power in Stone Mountain, Georgia, Lou? That's what I really want to ask you. We're sitting there debating.
When the Not Fucking Around Coalition?
Yeah.
That's not a show of power.
Right.
Tell us that. I gotta hear this.
Because here's the deal. One of the things that black people do in America that I still don't understand is that you talk too much. We talk too much. The Not Fucking Around Coalition should have never come out. What black people need to do is quietly acquire a lot of fucking guns, not say shit, and wait for shit to get down, then show power. Now all those white boys know you have all those guns, and they know who have them.
And they on the internet clowning hard and getting ready. If they not effing around coalition, they gonna do nothing.
Not only do they know that you have guns, they know what guns you have. They know your weaponry. They know who has them. That's the man. If you want to get down, you don't notice that these white boys, they've got all types of guns. Nobody knows what the fuck they have. They just show up with a bunch of machine guns one day. You don't know what they got. While we're sitting there Not Fucking Around Coalition, that's not a show of strength.
Lou,
move in silence.
Can I say this?
Go ahead.
If you got to get a permit, right? If you got to get a permit to have an armed demonstration, if you got to get escorted in and out of a park, right, by law enforcement, that is not power. You asked and paid for permission to gather with guns. You talked to the bullhorn, you did all that stuff. That's not power. Our people are caught up on romanticization of old school civil rights type action. You know what I'm saying? Like it looks like the Black Panthers is talking Hebrew Israelite rhetoric. So it's just hitting on all the cylinders. that get a response out of a bunch of people who overall, and I'm not saying Hebrew Israelites, but a bunch of people who overall are fantasizing about the 60s. What I'm saying is, I went to the Hebrew Israelites, talked about investing in Africa. Those people, they said they talked a lot of trash, but they really responded well. I mean, they came in numbers like, bro, let's do it. All I'm saying is we're past the time of all this talking. We're at the time where, okay, if you got something that can't be discussed, that's fine. But with something that can't be discussed, there has to be something that can be discussed to counter that, so that people who want to be a part of it have access to it. I could be like, yo, what I'm doing, you can't discuss it online, right? But secretly, I could be doing nothing, or I could be doing something.
Yeah,
But even the Black Panthers have the.
I'm discussing.
Can I finish my point, please? Can I finish my point, please?
I know you're directing at me, but bro,
no, I'm not directing it at you. I'm directing it at everybody, because we're all guilty of the same thing. We're all guilty of a bunch of talking. I like talk too. I like to talk too, but and not doing nothing. So I'm not directing at you, because that's a condition of Black people all over the globe.
Will you go on Yvette Carnell's show and say that same thing to her?
Man, I will say I will say worse. First of all, I wouldn't even go on her show. I wouldn't even go on her show.
And bring that to her, because they need to hear that shit, you know?
She's not going to let somebody like me on her show.
You need to
That's the point.
Go on the troll, say you support that.
I'm not worried about Yvette Carnell. I'm worried about the people who want to do something for Africa. And I'm saying we need to come together and do something, instead of just talking about what we're going to do or what we should do. That's across the board.
I got my plan. It's already.
Okay.
But
Brandon, boy, hold up. Let me get this in. Brandon, listen. Get my contact from Dynast. Let's get together and let's combine forces. If you got 65 soldiers rolling with you, let's combine forces. I'm not a talkative person. I don't like sitting here talking. If you really about that action, then let's get together and do some action.
I'm ready.
All right?
That's all. Run me his information, please.
I'll connect you guys on the email, but let's go ahead and close out. Everyone, thank you so much for joining. Like, share, and subscribe. Go to dynastyamir.com. Till next time, family.
Thank you.
Dynasty Amir, search for Hulu. Peace.